All right. All right. So today we are going to talk to the owner of Blowin Smoke Cigar Lounge in Texas. And today's episode is brought to you by Women Smoke Cigars because we do. Okay. That is that simple. It is literally that simple. So thank you for joining me, Edwina. At
You got it, Edwina.
First things first, why did you decide to open a cigar lounge?
It fell in my lap. I
Really?
was not, yeah, I was not looking for this. I was not looking for this opportunity. Um, I started smoking just casually because I have a sport background.
Hmm.
And I started smoking casually as, oh, I want to try something different. I want to do something new. And found myself gravitating to cigar lounges. And inside of that, I met someone and their shop was struggling. They were about to go out of business and they did. And it was an opportunity where it was like, huh, well, let's see. I might be able to help you. I might be able to help you. Let me come on as a mentor. Let me come on as a part owner that turned into, hey, this is the blueprint that I feel like would be successful, which consisted of a rebrand, which is the birth of Blowin Smoke Cigar Lounge. Till 5.5 years later,
Wow.
here I am.
Well, good
Yeah,
for you. So, was it hard because it was a cigar lounge before? So,
correct.
was it hard to rebrand it because it was already a cigar lounge and now you have to basically start over but not really?
Right. So yes and no. It was hard in the sense of people still had a negative connotation, right? Because it was in the same location of another lounge that was not successful. So people didn't know that there was ownership change, brand change. They didn't know that we would be any different,
Okay.
right? Until they came into the shop and now they're like, oh, you have cigars. Oh, you have a different offering of cigars. Oh, this is completely different, right? So it was the community giving that location another chance, realizing that it is a new owner, right? A new presenting owner, a new name, and this is how we would be different.
Hmm.
And once they came back, they gave you that second chance. It's like, okay, this is completely different. Then word of mouth hit and it spread. As for me, it wasn't hard. So the no part of yes and no is that I didn't know any different. I
Hmm.
just know how to build and make things better.
Okay. So,
Right. So that's that.
okay, so when you said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna go all in and I'm gonna do it. Was there, because you are a female, and let's be clear, in the cigar
Right.
industry, females have it a little rougher than a guy. So did you find it harder to bridge that gap, and it's not going to be the same, it's going to be different and I'm going to make it different and this is why? Or did you hit that brick wall with the guys that was like, well, yeah, it's cute and all, but
So no, so I think maybe I have an advantage just because my background is sport, right? So
okay,
I played basketball.
okay,
And as a female athlete that plays basketball, I'm generally around a lot of guys anyway.
got you.
So this is something that I'm used to. It doesn't bother me. It rolls off of my shoulder. Any extra hurdles that I may have in my life, in my lane, I'm used to that. That's the
Okay,
norm for me,
okay,
right? So this was no different, right? I'm in a male dominant industry. I've been in a male dominant industry with basketball. Now I'm in a male dominant industry again with cigars. So it doesn't, even though I have pushback, and some resistance,
mhm.
it's something that I can just take that bump and keep moving and figuring it out because I've been figuring it out my entire life.
So what was the hardest part of the rebrand for you opening up this lounge?
The hardest part was to show that we're different, right? Because we took over a particular location to show why Blowin Smoke Cigar Lounge is going to be completely different.
Okay.
Right. And then I think with anything, whatever the subject is, the hardest part is to create a culture and identity. And so because I knew what I wanted it to look like, getting the community on board with this is how it will be done here.
Okay.
I'm not sure how they're doing it in other places, but here, when you come to Blowin Smoke, this is what you're going to get.
Okay.
And then the consistency of that. But that's the growth of, I think, anything.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I see that you do a lot of like community cigar conversations, right? So was that one of the things that you wanted to bring in, or was that like something that the community around you wanted?
So with Cigars and Conversations, that is something that I thought of early on, but we weren't ready for it. It
Okay.
wasn't the time, it wasn't the season. You know, there are these ideas that are downloaded right in my quiet time, and it's like not yet. This isn't something for you, but not yet. And I don't think that we had the following. We didn't have the core group of followers. Even though you want to bring in some, you know, people from the north, we're in the south side of Dallas, so you want to bring in north, west, east, but we didn't have the clout, right? We didn't have the reputation that I think we now have in order to bring that different offering to the community.
Okay.
So it's always something that I wanted to do. We also had a different look in our lounge. So the first 3 years we were in Duncanville, Texas. Now we're in Lancaster, Texas.
Okay.
So our lounge looks a lot different. And this one is more open. So it has that open forum for cigars and conversations.
Okay.
Plus we have a stage if we want to do a panel like we're going to do it in the next couple of weeks. So there's a different look to this lounge that allows us to have different offerings for the community.
Okay. And so when you said that you knew that you wanted to do this, but it had to be the right time and it wasn't the right time when you first started. So where do you see going forward how you're going to grow your cigars and conversation?
This year, so we started it last year in 2023. It really was just an open model. I found this particular app where you're able to come in and scan the QR code and submit your questions anonymously or add your name. It doesn't matter. I picked out, I chosen 2 moderators in the community that's inside of Cigars that I felt like could navigate the room. So in 2023, it was just open, like it was down for whatever, right? We're talking about anything from politics to voting to kids in school to relationships. So with this one, the pivot for 2024 was to narrow in subjects, right? Narrow in titles. So this Cigars and Conversations will be the cigar industry, culture, and community.
Okay.
So we're specifically talking about the industry. So I have a cigar brand rep that's going to be on the panel for this one. The culture of cigars and community. So I have a young lady that's coming in. She launched a business because of this fad, this movement of cigars. She's now created her own business. I have Cigar Rockstar, which a lot of people are aware of. He's done a great job on social media with building his brand. So he's an influencer as well as a podcaster. And then I have Ash Red, who's also an influencer podcast, but they have their own magazine specifically about cigars. She rates cigars across the industry. She's traveling to trade shows. People are sending her cigars to give a particular rating. So to narrow in on the cigar industry. So that's the subject for this one. I do want to change it because we've done it quarterly to where there's different titles, subtitles, right? Whether it's mental health, you know, whether it's small business in the community. I just wanted this first one to keep the main thing, which is cigars.
Right, right. So now, do you remember your first cigar?
Of course I do. My first cigar was a Java Red.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Java Red. Had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. But they said it was sweet.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, I need to start with something that will taste good so that I'm not turned off. I met a friend, a longtime friend at a particular cigar shop. And so I could trust him, you know, to kind of give me a recommendation. So Java Red.
So now, where has your taste gone from there?
I'm all over the place, honestly. Yeah, I'm all over the place because I'm forced to be,
Hmm.
right? So I'm being introduced to so many cigars, from a flavor, a sweetness profile to a full body, full strength profile, and everything in between.
Hmm.
So I'm having to try new things so that I know what to bring into the shop. So
Okay.
for me, it's all preference, it's all mood. I'm a mood based smoker.
Hmm.
So it depends on how I feel and what I want to pick out of the humidor. I don't always like today I'm drinking some coffee and I am smoking a flavor, but there's sometimes where I'm drinking coffee and smoking a medium body cigar. It was just how I feel today.
Okay, see, okay, so there is a term for that because I do the same thing. I used to always say, oh, whatever strikes my fancy, but I like the whole, I'm a mood cigar smoker. Like I like
Yeah, yeah, I'm a mood based
so
smoker. So
so when you deal with your, because I take it that is this your full-time job or do you have
yeah,
something else?
so yes, this has taken over my life.
Okay.
This has completely taken over my life. There I do have other businesses that I have neglected,
Mhm.
but as far as blowing smoke has my attention, and this is all I do. Yes.
So as far as that, when someone comes to your shop, right? And let's just say they're a cigar brand owner, what is it going to take for you to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to give you a shot and I'm going to put your cigars in the humidor.
I'm tough. Like I'll be honest, I know I am, and it's not. I'm not being facetious or trying not to give people opportunities or anything like that.
Hmm.
There's standards to this thing, right?
Yes.
I want blowing smoke to have a standard, to have some type of credibility and values, right? We
Mhm.
stand on something. We're not just going to bring. I want to be able to back the cigar. If
Right.
the cigar is not good, then the brand of blowing smoke cannot stand behind it.
Mm.
No disrespect. It
Right.
just can't be in my humidor.
Right.
So for me, I want to know, first of all, the taste of the cigar, right? Can it, if it's good, okay. Now, do you have your business in order,
Ooh, okay.
right? What do you have? I've had a lot of people, I won't say any names, but I have one particular company in mind. The cigar is solid. Like it's a good cigar. However, they didn't have a price sheet. They
Mm.
didn't have a spec sheet.
Wow.
They had no presentation. I asked them about the blends of the cigar. I believe they presented me with two, maybe different blends. I asked them about it. They were stumbling over their words, um, as far as the construction and the makeup of it. And I wasn't sure if they actually were passionate about this
Mm.
because of the presentation.
Okay. And that's the thing because cigar smoking, it's not just, some people say, oh, it's a hobby. Not really. It's
Mm-mm.
lifestyle. And if
Mm-hmm.
you as a cigar brand owner don't know your own brand, that it's going to be hard to say, hey, let me put my cigar in your shop. Because a lot of times people, I always think of it in this terms. I guess maybe it's because my educational previous background. If you can't sell me you can't sell me anything.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and I guess that works the same way in a cigar lounge slash humidor because you have to be able to have knowledge about the cigar because if they can't tell you
Yes.
what it is, how are you going to tell somebody that comes in there to buy it?
Exactly.
So,
And you have to be confident in it, right? When you create, when you created your brand, you have to be your biggest cheerleader
right,
because you're gonna get a lot of naysayers, critics, people that are on board, but it's gonna be mixed reviews, emotions. If but you have to be able to sell that thing.
right,
How are you gonna pick up new accounts? How are you gonna pick up partnerships, sponsorships, whatever it is, money, walking into a bank? You got
right,
to be able to sell this thing,
right, right.
right?
And
And so when I sense that hesitancy, I'm like, I don't know.
like, No, not for me. So tell me, how did you come up with Blowin Smoke? Like, because
Yeah,
there's always got to be a story.
yeah, blowing, no G on it.
No,
Okay.
okay, I'm sorry. See,
Okay, we
again,
gotta
that's the
drop that G
educational
off of there.
background. I'm trying to be
Yeah,
all,
yeah, yeah.
correct.
We gotta so okay, so when creating a brand, this particular brand, I we had to do I had to do my homework, right? And I do think that people miss doing their homework. And what I mean by that is, choosing 3 to 5 different names that you think are cool, Googling those names, seeing if it's owned by someone else,
Mhm.
seeing if it's someone in close proximity with that name. Because as you're forward thinking, you're thinking about scaling up, you're thinking about trademarking, you want to completely own your name on all social media platforms, putting that name in social media platforms, seeing what comes up. So you have to do your homework prior,
Mhm.
right? So when it came to cigars, there was no blowing smoke,
Mhm.
right? When it came to the name, there was a lot of barbecue. There's a lot of barbecue companies. Of course, people are hashtagging blowing with a G, like regular spelled,
Right.
traditionally spelled blowing. But as far as dropping that G off, and the hyphen after the N is actually cigar smoke.
Oh,
If you look at the detail of the logo,
mhm.
I love it. Even still to this day, I wanted something that was welcoming for men and women. So
Mhm.
it couldn't be a man's face. One of the logos that was presented was a male. It can't be that because you don't want to turn off women,
Right.
right? Because I want to capture everyone. I
Mhm.
wanted something that could stand in 2018 and 2028,
Okay.
right? You don't want to pick a logo that's like, oh, that's outdated. Whether it's a man with a high top hat. I think that was one of the first things presented to me. Is like, nah, that's Renaissance, and
Right.
we're
Right.
we're having we're pulling in that millennial as well as the baby boomer,
Mhm.
right? I want to be able to capture everything, so I wanted a logo that when you look at it, if you take the words from it, you know
Right.
what that is.
Yes.
I
So how many times did they have to come to you before you settled on that?
honestly, with the designer, the guy that designed this also does my apparel. I have an apparel company that I've completely neglected,
Mhm.
but he did my website, my personal work. And so when I went to him with this, I said, "Hey, this is what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
This is I kind of wanted to be able to stand the test of time. I wanted to be unique." And so he said, "Okay, let's go with an emblem. Like let's go with not a person,
Mhm.
but a two-part logo to where if you remove the words, people will know this. As they get to know your shop, they will know what this B is,
Mhm.
right? And I can also remove the B and you have the name of the company, Chill, Relax, Unwind. So it probably took 2 edits. It was so dope when he presented to me the first time. It might have been, hey, change the coloring here, and I bring the red out a little bit more, so the middle of the B is actually a tip of a cigar.
Mhm.
So yeah, really 2 edits. It didn't take much back and forth. It's like, I like what you did
Yeah,
there.
I mean, it is because I was looking, I was like, oh, I love it. I love
Thank you.
it
Yeah,
because
thank you.
like for women, especially for women, it's about catching our eye.
Hmm.
So it's like, men, not degrading men, but they're
Hmm.
more, like, oh, okay. And they're not really that focused on it. And maybe that's why
Right.
there are more women cigar rollers than men, because we have that different outlook on things. So when you
Right.
look at Blowin Smoke Cigar Lounge, what do you see in the next 2 years?
Well, we will stay in this location. A lot of people are asking because we moved in this particular location the summer of 2021.
Okay.
So we're not trying to go anywhere. So we will hope to still be in this location. But what I want to do is grow some of our current offerings, right? So thinking about what we already offer, like the cigars and conversations, how
Mhm.
do I make that better? How do I create a stronger foundation,
Mhm.
right? And to where it has its own set of followers,
Okay.
right? So we also have Blowin Smoke Fest, which we launched last year, September. So it's not a cigar week, right? Because I don't, as a cigar lounge, I don't have the time to create a cigar because I'm focused on the shop. Um, but maybe more a festival, a one dayer,
Okay.
possibly adding a second day, but not growing, not trying to make it a week long or multiple days, but maybe starting it on that Friday where that is the party part of Blowin Smoke Fest. And then that Saturday being smoke cigar companies. So
Okay.
we were able to bring in 5 companies for year one. So
Mm-hmm.
last year we had 5 cigar companies and 5 vendors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we have a large parking lot in the back. So we blocked the parking lot off. So that parking lot was maybe half full. That gives us space to grow. We still have another half.
Right. Right.
Right. So there's so much that we can do within that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we also have an annual vendor fair that we've been doing 4 years now. That's always in June.
Mm-hmm.
And that's grown. We started with 8 vendors. Our first year we had 10. Last year we grew it to where it was 10 inside, 5 outside.
Okay.
So if we can, because the inside seating is a large. It's when you walk in, you're like, whoa, this is a large cigar lounge, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's sizable. So there's so much we could do with that, and the outdoor. There's room for growth there. So to answer your question, growing the offerings that we have,
Mm-hmm.
adding a few here and there. We've added a DJ battle this past month, which was it was fun. It
Mm-hmm.
was actually really fun,
Wow.
so yeah, just adding different things, but not leaving. We're staying here.
Okay. So see, so stop asking her. She's not
Yeah,
going
yeah.
anywhere.
We're not leaving.
So now, with your lounge being woman owned, are you finding that more women are more comfortable coming into your lounge to smoke versus, like when we go to, other lounges that might not be women owned or minority owned,
Right.
it's kind of you get the feeling like when you walk in. I know most of the lounges here, I could be the only woman there for like 4 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, okay. No one
Mm-hmm.
here really. I mean, I'm a football fanatic, so I can talk football all day long. But it's like, but when you have a lounge that is owned by a woman, it feels more welcoming. So does your
It
lounge
does.
have more women, or is it like 50-50?
There are a lot of women that you may see at another job. I do think being, female owned, has something to do with that. I think when a woman walks in, feel automatic comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could come back here by myself
Right.
because maybe they came with a group of girls, group of ladies. Maybe they came with their significant other, but then after they leave, they're like, I can do this by myself because I feel good here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a woman that owns it. It's a black woman, minority owned woman that
Right.
I feel comfortable. Um, so I think it's mixed. I have people that they come because they would feel comfortable, female owned. Some people don't have a clue and they get here and they're like, oh, and you're a woman. I'm definitely supporting. So I have a lot of people that do that. So I said that to say we're able to capture everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? Men are coming because this is their thing anyway, if you
Right.
smoke.
Right.
But now for a female, it's an extra layer of comfort.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So when you think about the female aspect of it, are you going to have more events geared only for females? Like, like a lot of females now are getting into cigar smoking, and they really haven't. I don't want to say they don't have a clue, but they really don't know enough about it to feel comfortable going by themselves. So are you going to try
Right.
to do like a ladies 101 type of come learn about it, type of thing?
Um, I've had that presented before. One of the reasons why I've steered clear and because I keep hearing it, it's probably something I need to add. Right, right. You know what I mean? Like you keep hearing it so much, I need to consider that.
Hmm.
One of the reasons why I've never jumped on that is because I'm an inclusive person, right? I'm about inclusion. So even though I want to create I would want to create something for women. Do I create something only for men?
Right. Yeah.
You know, so
That is the question, right? Because, but there are
yeah.
a lot of new guys that want to know that don't
Mhm.
know. So it could be, like for
And that's why it
everyone.
would be more exactly. And that's
Right.
why I would lean towards making it open. If it is a cigar one-on-one, or which is what I think this Cigars and Conversations, this next one, this first one, could be good for. If
Hmm.
you're new and wanting to learn, to break it down, um, or to have those offerings within certain events. But because I'm an inclusive person,
Hmm.
I got to figure out how to do something only for ladies.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because then the men, and then I have those. I don't know how it is in different shops, but the men are like, "What about us?" Like the men
Right.
are acting like
Yeah, they can be extra too and petty. They can be
they
petty
are
too.
extra. What about us, EB? You gonna have something for the men? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do something for you guys.
Right. So are you there every day?
No, I try not to be. So I try
Okay.
to take a couple of days off, 2 days off a week.
Hmm.
That's the balance, trying to figure out the balance to this. In the beginning, as a new lounge owner, you're there more than you want to be,
Hmm.
right? Because you got to get it off the ground. You've got to hire. You have to figure out how many staff members you can handle with
Hmm.
budget,
Right.
if at all any. And so the more that your business grows and you're able to take on new employees, then the more that I can step away. As
Hmm.
well as, this is my baby, right? It's imagine a newborn.
Right.
What new mother is trying to leave their 3-month-old in the hands of someone else other than a grandma or something? No,
Right.
no one wants to do that. So the more that I'm able to step away, and allow it to grow itself, I want to do that. So normally I've been taking 2 days off. I'm back down to 1 day off because I had to remove one of the staff members at the end of 2023.
Mhm.
So as we're hiring again, I just hired. I'm able to kind of let go a little bit more once I onboard him properly,
Mhm.
and I trust him to fly solo. So you know, I want days off. I want to be able to breathe. I need to rest,
Right.
right? I also need to get out into the community to
Mhm.
where I'm reachable, right? To show that I get outside of my shop. I will come to you and hang out with you as well because I'm asking you to come to me. Why would I not be able to come to you?
Right. Now, do you do this? Because I always want to know this, and I ask a lot of shop owners this. Like, because you have your shop and your lounge, and you know what you do in yours. When you go to a different shop, are you like looking like, I would
Yeah,
do that?
yeah. Oh, I'm one. I want to learn. I'm a lifelong learner.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm nosy. I'm watching everything, right? That's the point guard background in me,
Okay.
right? I'm seeing everything that's going on around me.
Hmm.
And I'm picking up nuggets, right? There are things that I saw in other shops that I'm like, oh, I want to add that. How can I add that and make it fit for blowing smoke?
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then there's also things that I'm looking at. And I'm like, we will never do that.
Mhm.
We will never do that inside of blowing smoke,
Right.
so you're learning things to add and things
Mhm.
to never do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Name one of the things you would never do.
So many. There's
Oh
so
my
many.
God.
Okay, let me remain professional.
Okay.
Um so this is basic, but so there's a lot of theft that happens in cigar shops,
Hmm.
right? So there are cigar shops that maybe have multiple shops, or they've been in business 10 plus years and they have the money to where they can continue to um, add lighters. So they might have a box of cutters and lighters for a customer to just come and grab. They're gonna steal it. I tried that.
Hmm.
I tried that, and I'm going through cutters the first 2 or 3 years, probably 50 cutters and lighters walked out
Wow.
of that building.
Wow.
Think about how much money that was that
Yeah.
I lost.
Wow.
So I had to learn that hard lesson because I copied someone else. They had it on the counter. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
maybe I need to do that. Matches,
Right.
right? Maybe I need to do. They're take. So now you have one torch,
Mhm.
but what we added, so it turned into a positive. What we added is we offer to cut and light everyone's cigar for you,
Mm.
right? So once you check out, do you want me to cut your cigar? Sure. What type of cut would you like? So we do that. Can I light your cigar? Absolutely. So now you're not reaching for a cutter and lighter and it ends up in your pocket. We'll go
Right.
ahead and do that for you.
Right. Okay. See, so a negative turned into a positive.
Exactly.
It's always about, taking
Exactly.
something and learning from it. So I'm so glad that I was able to sit down and talk to you today. It was like I'm on Instagram a lot. So when I'm
Okay.
not really doing a whole, okay, let me rephrase that because it makes it sound like I don't do nothing during the day. But most of the time I'm sitting there and it just randomly things will come up, I guess, because of all my interests. And your lounge came up in my feed, and I'm like, oh,
That's good.
if
Okay.
I'm ever in Texas, which I hope to
Yeah.
be soon because I'm a Cowboys
Yeah.
fan. So
Okay.
hoping to be in Texas at some point. And if not, that's, I'm retired, so I can travel whenever I
Yeah.
want. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, okay, I always mark down, okay, this is the place I need to go. And if I need to go here, how can I make that into the trip? So I'm so glad that we were able to connect. And I'm floored by all of the activity that you do have and the
Thank you. Yeah.
opportunities that you are creating within your lounge. So
Right.
is there is there one thing you want the viewers to know about Blowin Smoke?
Um, so yes, if I can say it and remain professional, tactful, as a black owned shop, right? A lot of times there's a stigma between our counterparts. Let's just call a spade a spade. The white community, Hispanic community, not feeling comfortable going into a particular shop, especially if it's black presenting or minority owned presenting. What I want people to know about Blowin Smoke is, number one, we want everyone to feel welcome, at home. They can be comfortable when they come into my shop. Number two, I cater towards boutique companies. So I might not have the traditional Padrones or the Fuentes. We do carry that,
Mhm.
but I cater towards more of the boutique offering. And then we dabble in those companies. So when you walk in, I'm probably going to be able to put you on at least 5 companies you maybe have never heard of.
Mhm.
Okay. That's the second thing. And the third thing is that I would love for people to step back and look at our portfolio, to look at the body of work and the offerings that we are presenting to the community, because this is community service and
Mhm.
the service that we're presenting for the community and just how we've considered everyone in mind.
Oh,
That's what Blowin Smoke is about.
I love it. I love it. So if you all are in Texas, traveling through Texas, and I have a friend who's a trucker, so I'm gonna make sure that when he comes down, he got to come down and get
Please send him my
cigars.
way. Send him
Um,
my way.
and listen, I'm all about minority female owned businesses, and for you to take on that role in your part of this cigar community, I applaud you and I thank you for that. um, so hopefully in our cigar travels, we will come across each other. I always say I cigar stalk pages. So so I'll be cigar stalking your page as well. And
Okay, okay.
I'm gonna look up all of your other offers that you have, because you did mention you had the apparel
Blowing
line that
smoke fest?
you were
Yeah. Oh
uh
yeah.
neglecting, but we gonna make sure that you have those couple of days off so you can get back to that.
Right.
But
Work on that.
yeah,
Exactly.
the work on that. But I mean, the whole Blowin Smoke emblem is like phenomenal.
Thank you.
So now,
Thank you so
are
much.
those the shirts that you have, are they on your website? Like, can people buy
Yes.
them?
So our paraphernalia, so our t-shirts, we have hoodies, long sleeves. That is on the website. So we have two websites, but our online shopping platform is blowinsmokeonline.com.
Okay, y'all
Okay.
heard it there. So, because
Blowinsmokeonline.com.
I gotta go and get me a shirt, because and you see I'm in long sleeves. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's coming in winter or spring or whatever it is.
Right. We don't know. We don't
Yeah,
know.
so I just stay in
Yeah.
long sleeves, so I'm always warm.
Yeah, I will say that because we're on every platform from Instagram to X, anyone can send us a DM. And if there's something that you saw myself or any of the other staff or anything, if you want us to ship out cigars, we do that as well. Just send a DM and then I'll get you taken care of.
All right. Well, okay. So you all heard it first here on Conversations with Coco. And I thank Edwina for joining us today with Blowin Smoke Cigar Lounge down in Texas. If you all are in Texas, make sure you check her out. And we will be catching up offline, to see how I can put my order
Okay.
in because I need me a shirt.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate the time. Thank you so
I
much.
thank you for joining me today and make it a marvelous Monday.
All right. You too.
All
Blessings.
right. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye.